We believe that videos, images, words, and sounds have the absolute power to inform, inspire, and entertain. We are united under the virtues of safety and knowledge. We are a training community of learners and teachers who encourage and energize each other to achieve greatness. We are pilots, videographers, photographers, freelancers, business owners, enthusiasts, experts, and apprentices. We are creators. We are the Drone U.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another awesome episode of Ask Drone U. My name is Paul.
And I'm Rob, and you're listening to episode number 284. And as always, we thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with us.
We do, Rob, and there's news.
There is a little bit of news, a little bit.
New drone came out today, Rob.
Really? From who?
World's largest manufacturer of drones.
Interesting.
Who's that?
I don't know.
Me neither. All right.
I've never heard.
Wrong podcast. No, I'm kidding. It's DJI.
This indeed.
They came out with the Phantom 4. Phantom 4. A lot of people are excited about this. One thing I found interesting, though, is that all the information was leaked before the event. The Verge put out a video, which we shared. Actually, this may seem contradictory, but we are live streaming from New York City today, and we are live streaming from the studio simultaneously.
It's magic.
Magic. Anyway, guys, thank you for joining us for another awesome episode. Thank you to everyone who's a part of this episode, Go Professional Cases, Drone U, our production staff, everyone. And we're here to talk about the Phantom 4. We actually did get a question in that was asking, what do we expect to see with the new Phantom 4?
Yeah.
What features are there going to be? Should I buy a Phantom 4? And I'm seeing some mixed reaction out there, Rob. I'm seeing some, and it's very interesting. I find as more and more people jump on the Phantom train, more and more people get upset when a new Phantom comes out. Like I read one comment where this guy's like, "Well, it's the same camera as the Phantom 3 Pro, so I'm not going to spend the extra $1,400."
Well, you know, I don't know. I would just think that by now people are used to technology coming out very, very quickly. And so those days of being upset because the new version came out from what you just bought
should be over.
They should be over.
After your 12th Christmas, I would say.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I certainly understand it. We've all had that feeling, but get over it.
Yeah.
Because that's the world we live in.
We are adults here. I have to
that.
remind myself that every day. Like, Paul, you're an adult. You can't say
no comment.
Like that.
Except
that's going to have to be bleeped. So, point in case.
Should I be your bleeper?
Yes, you should. All right, ready? Let's try this. 1, 2, 3. Shit.
That's my new role.
Anyway, guys, so will you be buying the Phantom 4? We want to know. Go to AskDroneU.com, AskDroneU.com, and let us know if you're going to be buying the Phantom 4. Rob, what are some new features? What are we seeing here in this Phantom 4? Is this the game changer? I'm so sick of hearing people say
I think we're going to
changer.
stay away from the game changer idea because, again, well, for one, we've said that in the past about things, and they haven't ended up being that much of a game changer, to say the least.
Which drone are you talking about?
I don't know. We don't need to go into the details. Let's just say that it's happened in the past. We like to learn from history, right? History is an important thing to learn from.
A mistake is never a mistake unless you change it.
Yeah, I don't even know if we're going to call it a mistake. I mean, you take some risks in life, and I don't think that's a big risk. No big deal. The reality is, but we're not going to do it again.
Gotcha.
Right? It's a pretty cool drone. It sounds like the 4K that you're really excited about. So
I want to talk about that for a second because what I'm talking about is 4K RAW. Someone said that it's 4K RAW, which if that is the case, if it really does shoot 4K RAW,
we need new computers.
Yes.
Okay.
and also, I mean, you think about how the Inspire 1 X5 shoots 4K RAW, and it's like if you can really get 4K RAW out of a Phantom, they're really degrading the value in the Inspire 1 other than its flight capabilities. But what everyone is really, really stoked about with the Phantom 4 is the stereoscopic 3D obstacle avoidance system. When I say stereoscopic, what I'm talking about are the two cameras that are on the front of the Phantom 4. Hopefully, you'll be able to check this out through the podcast itself. If you are listening to the live stream, you will see pictures and video of what we're talking about. But stereoscopic really means two cameras measuring distances because they're a set distance from each other. So that's how the software is able to actually measure those distances. So now the Phantom 4 has an onboard computer to actually do these measurements.
So can I ask a dumb question?
There's no such thing, Rob.
Thank you very much for that. What about the back-facing camera? There are none back, or it's just not necessary. Help me understand that.
I think it's the way I read it is that there are 3 cameras that do obstacle avoidance, 1 on the bottom and 2 on the front, but they still have the ultrasonic sensors that are back and on the bottom as well. But the only cameras that are being used for obstacle avoidance are on the front legs looking forward.
Okay. But the point is obviously because when you fly a drone, you're kind of using it 360.
Yeah.
It's going to avoid obstacles regardless of which way you're flying it. In theory. Not necessarily?
I don't think so. I think it's only kind of forward.
Okay.
So now one thing I will say is that, we've made our mark on Game Changer. We've talked about that. The other thing I really want to drive home here to everyone is that we don't have this drone yet, like other drones. And until we are able to fully test one, that's when we'll give our full review. Like, here's what we really think. You should get one, blah, blah, blah. Because as everyone knows, there are glitches with everything that's first generation in technology. So it's really, really important that you guys know this view is strictly based on what we have seen. We have not tested. And it's something that when you look at review videos, you should be wondering about the person doing the review. Also, the second thing about that is, are they testing the drone in different environments? Because altitude, elevation, wind, barometric pressure, these are all things that affect the drone. And a lot of these other reviewers out there, like the guy, I forget his name, but he tests things at sea level and says, oh, you're going to get 20 minutes. And you see all these negative reviews on there. It's like, guys, there's a responsibility on the reviewer. There's also a responsibility on the consumer as well. You got to understand that different forces are going to have a different effect and causal relationship.
Absolutely.
And what you're going to get.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I've read about this, Paul, is that it's got a camera that moves around more easily. Have you read that? Does that mean anything to you? Do you know what that is speaking to?
So I think what they're talking about is tap fly. This is a new flight mode that essentially what happens is when you're using the iPad, so you know what I'm talking about using the iPad, although I don't understand how we're going to get a solid FPV feed without a booster, right? An antenna booster. But anyway, what they do is that with tap fly, they're going to be flying forward and they can tap on the screen and the camera will slowly yaw over and move to that focal point, like whatever you tap to. But also, you can draw people. So like if you have a person and you want to follow them, you can draw a little box around that person. And because of these new stereoscopic cameras, it will actually follow that person and constantly keep them in frame autonomously.
Okay.
So that's really cool.
That is cool.
One thing that someone's already asked me, big surprise, is, well, with this new tap fly, do you think that more and more drone operators are going to get better and better shots and make the experts less and less valuable? To an extent. Honestly, no, because when you look at the actual footage of tap fly, there's still a little wobble in that video. And if you're going to get the best of the best drone shots, you cannot have any yaw, any wobble whatsoever. It has to be perfect every single time, at least if you're going to get the big jobs, the money makers.
Well, and I think another way to look at that is to say that it's kind of like capitalism and competition. It pushes people to do better and make better products, provide better service, etc. This kind of a thing pushes the experts to become better experts.
Yeah.
To refine their craft even more, which in the end is a good thing for the consumers and for the people that are having videos produced for them. So it's a positive thing.
It is a positive thing, but also it doesn't take over the whole confidence aspect of that. And that's why we've got a couple upcoming in-person trainings going. And I would love to see us do a tour of trainings where it's like up your confidence trainings. And you guys have to fly through our obstacle course. And a lot of people, the first time they look at it, even Vic Moss was like, no way I'm doing that. And then he flew through the thing 15 times later that day.
Yeah, well, and several people actually did, of course, hit the obstacles, but a couple of props were broken, and then you do it again, and you do it again, and you develop that confidence. So it's very doable.
It is very, very doable. And if you guys want to go through the obstacle course, just check out Drone U. We have some in-person training. But again, Rob, I'd love to see us do a summer tour. I'm just saying that on the podcast.
Putting that out there.
People have asked me from Las Vegas, from Denver, from Lake Havasu. Lake Havasu is a big one, but
Paul just wants to get out of the office. Not that I blame you.
Did you see my
Not that I
Instagram
blame
post from
you.
yesterday? I was out in the middle of nowhere yesterday, and in fact, I didn't even know that we have a lake called Lake Santa Cruz here in New Mexico.
Didn't know that till right now either.
Well, I got some amazing drone footage of it.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it's also a place that you could surf. It's like an hour and a half away, and you could go surfing. And I'm really excited about that.
Surfing with the right boat, you mean? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
But
as in it's big enough?
It is big enough, yes, and it's deep enough, which is a really big factor.
Cool.
That being said, yeah, I said on Instagram, I feel where most people are lost, I feel found. And I feel like a lot of drone pilots feel that way because, if you're in the office and you just love drones, you probably dread being in the office. And I totally empathize with that 100%.
Absolutely.
Because the more I spend time in the office, the more I value being out and filming. And I think that that's something that a lot of people can't get away from is that they want to turn their passion into profit because it's almost an emotional release. It's almost like a getaway. You're getting away from life, but you're still making money. You're still having fun.
Absolutely. It's amazing. I don't know how we got on this, but it's an interesting subject because we're seeing so many different people in our community of Drone U folks who are telling that story. A lot of engineers, even some people in the financial world, all walks of life are saying, that's enough. I love to fly. I'm going to figure out a way to make it happen, and they're getting involved in the community, they're practicing, and maybe some of them will even be buying a Phantom 4.
Yeah, I mean, so my point in saying all this is that, guys, your skill as a pilot still has a high value. In our book, we talk about, why you should learn videography first, why it's the most difficult. It's even proving more pertinent here with the release of the Phantom 4, and that is there are going to be certain things that are going to come available to make filming easier, but in order to still get that flawless cinematic footage, you have to be good on the sticks. Something I learned about the Phantom 4 in the interview with DJI is that the only way to enable sport mode, which is this new super fast mode, which I'm stoked about, by the way.
So some racing with Phantom 4s, maybe?
No, I don't think so.
Phantom 4 against Phantom 4? All right, maybe not.
But anyway, one of the things that they have is this sport mode, and I think it's really good because it's going to be great for subject tracking. It's going to be good for high-speed shots. It's going to really allow for some fun stuff. But again, even though it's super fast and sporty, think about the props getting in your shot, and that's one of the benefits of the Inspire 1.
Sure. So you don't necessarily see, obviously there's a lot to learn about the Phantom 4, but you don't necessarily see this replacing your Inspire in terms of a lot of what you do.
No, because for me, it comes down to one thing. And that is capability of flight. Meaning, if I can fly more days of the week, then for me the business decision is to have the Inspire 1. So, for example, yesterday, right, 20 mile an hour winds, right? The Phantom, even the Phantom 3 Pro, is it possible? Yes. Would I've gotten footage? Absolutely. Would it have been to the quality that my clients prefer? I don't think so.
Right.
And that's one thing that the Inspire 1 does. Is the Inspire 1 has that capability to fly in higher winds, thus more capability to fly, thus more days to fly, thus more earning potential.
Well, and that actually brings up another question, and that is as it relates to the specs of the Phantom 4. Have we seen anything on that? Are the props the same? Are the motors the same size? Did they get any bigger? Do we know anything?
Okay, so I'm not seeing specs yet. I know it's in the DJI release, and if you watch our Periscope feed on Twitter at the Drone U, you can actually watch that entire event. I know the DJI live stream went down, so ours is still up, which is good.
Cool.
That being said, I am noticing taller motors mean more torque, which really means more power.
Right.
The props look different as well. Our quick release props like the Inspire now on the Phantom 3. Which I don't know how I feel about that. The Phantom 3 props were so perfect if you got the metal hub ones. They really were. We do have a bigger battery. I believe, let's see. Oh, it's not on here. But we're going from a 4,300 to a 5,300 milliamp hour battery. So they're saying
that's a pretty big jump.
Yeah, another 1,000 milliamps. Think about it like the TB47 and the TB48 with the Inspire 1. Right. But that being said, they're claiming 28 minutes of flight time.
Okay.
I could see that in California.
Right.
I could see maybe 23, 24 here.
Which would be great.
Yeah, it would still
I
be
mean,
killer.
that would be great.
It comes down.
flight time.
It comes down to that argument that someone gave us about the Chroma drone. You know, the Chroma. Well, like, hey, I can use the Chroma for commercial purposes. Yeah, but with an unbalanced small battery, it's like you're going to be blowing through batteries quickly.
Right.
With these, balanced circuit batteries where we're balance charging them, we can't charge them when they're too hot, can't charge them when they're too cold, can't charge them if they've got a cell voltage error. Like, what we're stopping is a fire, number one.
It's important.
And number two, we're creating a better battery anyway.
Right.
So the fact that DJI has increased the battery capacity here is awesome. But it also helps those who have commercial endeavors because it means you're going to get more flight out of your batteries. And it's funny, when I was filming yesterday, I did my entire job in 2 TB48 batteries.
Is that right?
Yeah, so there is a real value to having those big batteries. And I think the value is that you don't have to buy as many batteries.
Even though you have like a dozen.
Yeah, someone wrote in a question asking if they could buy one of my batteries. I was like, I've got one that has a cell voltage error that even after calibrating doesn't work properly. Maybe you can have that
You're
one.
going to sell that one?
No, I think that would be wrong. I can't do that.
Sell beachfront property to a New Mexican? If you can get that battery sold, let's try it.
Well, it depends on how you look at beachfront, Rob.
Yes, it does. We actually have something here called The Beach.
Yeah, and
Bit
it's
of a misnomer.
everywhere.
Yes. That's right. Not what I meant, but yes.
Well, if the beach means that it comes with water, then we may be in trouble.
Indeed.
But anyway, so what are your thoughts on the Phantom 4? We want to know. We love the new tap fly mode. We love the new sport mode. There are new apps that are coming out with the Phantom 4 that are going to give you more control of your camera, more control of the drone itself, and overall a better experience. But it also means you're going to have to shell out a lot of dough to get a new case, to get it the whole 9 yards.
Yeah. Unless they win a case from us at some point, right?
That's true. Or they use the discount code DroneU15.
That'll save a few bucks.
10% off any Go Professional case.
Absolutely. One thing we haven't talked about, Paul, is the fact that they have now created a direct relationship with Apple, which I find to be really interesting. Talking about DJI, right? Obviously not GoPro cases, but that's really interesting. I mean, obviously they've been dominating the market for a long time, but I think this really, really says they've arrived.
Well, yeah, and I think it's a smart strategic decision for DJI as well. They don't have to have the capital influx to have stores and have real estate and all this. But it makes me wonder how this is going to affect the relationship of the dealers, right? Like Multicopter Warehouse, like Drone Depot, like Drones Plus.
True.
And then again, what about the even smaller people? Because here's the thing. It comes down to trust. If someone goes to an Apple store and they're able to buy a Phantom 4, they're just going to buy it. Boom.
Yeah.
Right? The next thing, though, is that if they go to a local store, a hobby store, and they buy a Phantom 4, I think more consumers are prone to go to Apple because it's name brand recognition, right? Or it's brand recognition. You say Apple, instantly. We're not talking about a fruit. We're talking about a phone. So,
yeah, although, I guess it just depends on what they're looking for. I think there are going to be people that are committed to that hobby store feel and that relationship, which really doesn't exist in the Apple stores. I mean, there's, nice people working there, but it's a different feel.
Yeah.
Just depends on what one's looking for. But no, you're right. I think it's obviously it's going to take away from what places like Multicopter are doing.
It's funny. I didn't even think about that until we sat down here and talked about it. And I'm like thinking about all my friends that own drone stores, and it's like, that is definitely going to have an impact on their business. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to argue that it won't. But on the other hand, maybe they just sell more and the pie is bigger. And so everybody's business grows.
It could also have a negative regression effect. So they sell more drones, but Apple doesn't sell the parts or the service. But even though DJI does have a service plan, which I find interesting, it's like a warranty. But essentially, it could bring more business back to the hobby stores because they have the parts, they have the service, they can fix them. Who knows?
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what plays out with that. But I just think it's really cool and really interesting that they've partnered with Apple.
Yeah,
so
I couldn't agree more. Well, guys, that's going to do it for us today. We're excited about the Phantom 4. What's the price? $13.99.
And that is probably going to cover just the drone and the remote. That's what you're thinking, right? I don't know if we know that for sure, or maybe we do.
I don't think we know that for sure, but that is my assumption.
Okay, assumption, emphasis on assumption.
Yes, assumption. But very excited for this. Very excited to do a new Don't Crash course. And excited for the new courses that are coming out, the advanced cinematography, the FPV racing, how to build an FPV racer, aerial photography, utilizing the X5. Gosh, we have so much coming out. I'm excited.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And guys, if you have a question, please go to askdroneu.com and submit it there. Give us your best accent. Paul, give us what kind of accent could they go with?
Well, this morning I am drinking quite a bit of tea, and I really, really love it.
You can't go wrong with tea. Tea's a good thing. So anyways, please do that for us. And interesting, in our next podcast, we're going to be talking about crashes. We've got somebody that called in and had an issue. Is that not right? Oh, that's what it says on here. That's what it says.
Well, guess
right
what?
there.
I'm sure we could do a podcast every single day on crashes.
That's
because
true.
I know more people than I can count that have crashed in the first couple hours of owning their drone.
Anyways, but that said, if you know somebody that's bought a new drone, or you're thinking about buying a new drone, or you've got a kid that you're going to buy a drone for, check out don'tcrashcourse.com. 90 minutes of great information that you want to listen to and watch prior to flying. That's pretty important.
It really is. But also, if you have been flying, you bought a drone, you've had success with it so far, but you really want to transform yourself from someone who just owns a drone to someone who can talk about it, to someone who feels confident flying no matter where you are and what you're doing. Someone who feels confident when someone asks them, "Are you flying a drone? Does it have a camera?" And you know how to respond calmly and get the response that you're looking for instead of encouraging a fight. If you're ready to transform yourself to be a more confident pilot, I think it's time for you to check out the Drone U community. But also, I think it's time for you to think about some in-person courses or just take the advanced cinematography course, because you will have the confidence to fly where you want to and do what you want to without harming manned aircraft or people, though. I do want to throw that out there.
Very important.
For all
Safety
the
first.
FAA and NTSB people that are listening, which we know you are, so thank you. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for us today. My name is Paul.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Drone U.
We believe that videos, images, words, and sounds have the absolute power to inform, inspire, and entertain. We are united under the virtues of safety and knowledge. We are a training community of learners and teachers who encourage and energize each other to achieve greatness. We are pilots, videographers, photographers, freelancers, business owners, enthusiasts, experts, and apprentices. We are creators. We are the Drone U.